don't think I was mad at God. I tried that before, I think, and I just found out that it doesn't really get you anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we changed the question that we were asking as a family, not so much about like, why God, as much as like, well, God, what is it that you're doing now?
Hey guys, welcome to In the Middle of It. I'm your host, Hannah Kerr. Today we have a super special guest. He is one of my heroes, and they say not to meet your heroes, but I'm so glad that I not only met Mike Weaver, but I know him. We've been on tour together for 2 years, and he's just a dear, dear friend to me and to Jason. So please welcome the living legend from Big Daddy Weave, Mike Weaver.
That's incredible.
Hey,
that's like the best intro I ever got. I think that's like, I don't know if I can live up to that through the.
You already have lived up to it. It's amazing.
That's unbelievable.
Oh.
When somebody says you're a legend, that really just means you're getting old.
No,
is what it is.
that's
You know
not
what I mean?
true.
That's awesome.
No, I think we do need to settle once and for all, though, that your name is Mike and it's not Big Daddy. Because I feel like being out on the road with you, it's just like everyone's like, hey, Big Daddy. And you're like, that. You're so sweet.
For the last better than 20 years, we have tried to convince people of that, that Big Daddy was not really a person, it was the group or whatever.
Right,
but they're just
exactly.
kind of like, nope, Darlene, that's Big Daddy right there. And so we just, whatever. At some point we just changed our mind. We said, well, they're like, are you Big Daddy Weave? And I'm like, well, that depends. Does that make you want to buy a CD more if I am? And it's like, well, then nice to meet you, BD Weave.
I am Big Daddy Weave. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. Like every single Q&A, people are always like, how did you get your name, Big Daddy Weave? You're like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah. We're just like, a picture's worth 1,000 words. That's good.
It's so funny though that it was Big Daddy Weave and the institution. I love that. But then you dropped the institution. It's gone.
We scrambled at the end because the label wasn't liking any of it really. You know? They're like, and so we're like, well, you come up with a better name, and the list of names they gave us, I won't even repeat here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so we were like, well, it is kind of confusing, the institution or whatever. All right, we'll just be Big Daddy Weave. And so,
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moral of the story is be careful what you call your group. That's it. Yeah.
Say a prayer before you name it.
Say a prayer.
No, it's perfect because you've had the name for 25 years now. You guys have been a band.
We just last week celebrated 26 years.
26 years.
I can't even believe that,
Your band is like a full-grown adult that has a mortgage. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
We definitely understand the mortgage part, I think. It's coming every month. Right?
I love it. It's amazing. Okay, well, thank you for being on this podcast. I'm so excited.
Listen, it is my honor. And as much as, gosh, you just honored me, but we love you so much, me and the rest of Big Daddy Weave.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you, so we have been on the road together 5 different tours.
Crazy.
I'm telling you, I've just seen the kindness of the Lord in you. I've just seen you grow in the Lord so much. You and Jason both, we just love you like you're our family. And so when you were like,
our family,
I'm starting a podcast, and I was kind of like, dude, I want to be on it. And
that was so sweet.
And I don't want to be on any podcast.
That's
you know what I mean?
so
It's
kind.
like, and so but this is so awesome, man. I love
crazy.
the look of it. I love the feel of it.
Thanks.
I love the theme. I love In the Middle. I love all of that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's really
good.
kind. Okay, well, I want to start us with a game, a little icebreaker. I'm sure everyone watching this probably knows who you are, but I want them to know you even better.
Okay.
So, we're going to play Love It, Hate It, In the Middle of It. So I'm going to give you like a rapid fire list of 10 things.
Okay.
You tell me if you love it, hate it, or if you feel kind of neutral in the middle of it. You see what we did there?
Okay. Yeah. I love it.
And no explanation necessary, but if you feel led to give one,
Okay.
feel free to
All right.
explain yourself.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
We're
Let's go.
starting off easy, Mike. Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Love it.
Love it.
Yes.
Do you have a preference versus like the crunchy waffly ones or like the end of the potatoey ones?
Well, I will say this. My daughter, Naomi, actually, so she has a diet based almost exclusively on Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
I love that so much.
And so but when she comes to the end of them, then she's like, Daddy, this one's for you, And so I
give you only the best.
I get those the most, but I love all of them. I'm an equal opportunity waffle fry eater.
I love it. That's great. Jason likes the end of the waffle fry. I like the crunchy one, so we're like a perfect pair. You know what I mean?
That's perfect. You guys were made for each other.
We were made for each other, and that's just another reason to add to the list.
I love it.
Okay, next one, Star Wars.
Oh, love it. Dude,
I knew that about you. I was just throwing that in there for you.
When I was 1 year old, Star Wars came out, right? Okay.
Wow.
And so my dad, this is back in drive-in movie theater days or whatever, and my dad said that literally he pulled up to the drive-in movie theater. the movie starts, my mom instantly falls asleep, and I'm standing in between them on the front seat. And he said my 1-year-old hand was on his shoulder, and I watched unflinchingly the entire movie. And so I've been a lifelong fan ever since.
It just had you from that first moment.
It did. He had me from like it was Wookie. Yeah, that was excellent Wookie.
Thank you. I feel like we both just did our best work there.
So good.
Okay, next, heavy metal music.
Love it.
You do.
I do.
I didn't know that about you.
I mean, as a singer of a Christian AC
I know. I'm
group
like,
or
Big
whatever.
Daddy Weave is so similar to that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, not very much, but I love it. But I actually love all kinds of music, a really good version of whatever that genre is.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yep. I love it. Okay, good to know. Pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza. I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Because I don't know that I would order it, but I've also I really love sushi also, and so I've ordered pineapple in sushi.
Okay.
So I think that I'm okay with it. I've wound up in some places where it's like all they have is the pineapple kind, and I ate it and I was like, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. We just had pizza together recently with our families, and we didn't have pineapple on any of those pizzas.
None of those pizzas.
So that's what made me think of it. I was like,
so
maybe
true.
He's a hater.
Yeah, and I was not hating on it. I was just trying to think for the group. You know what I mean? And
it's great.
So what do you think about pineapple?
I love it. It's one of my favorite toppings.
I should have ordered. That was my bad.
No.
That was my bad.
I do not discriminate on toppings in general. I like all of them.
We would have had pineapple on a gluten-free crust
gluten-free
pizza.
crust. Yes. I love it. Okay, good to know. Okay, next, pickleball.
Pickleball. Love it.
Yeah.
Not very good at it.
Me either. It is not a strength of mine in the Lord, but I do enjoy it. I do like it.
Dude, Jason rules at pickleball.
He rules at it. It's
so
true.
He and my son Eli could kind of have a good match, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, we can watch and drink our Route 44 Sonic drinks and just watch them.
That's exactly right. That's right. That's an important thing to have while you're playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Route 44 size,
hydration. You say route. Is that the right way to say it?
Right. You're probably saying it right.
Oh, I have no idea. What's in your Route 44? Like, what do you get from Sonic?
Man, I would get something zero. You know what I mean? So
either
water or Coke Zero or some kind of, it's got zero.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Next is Crocs.
Crocs.
Yes.
I love them actually.
Me too.
I don't love how they look, but I love how they feel. I feel like they understand me. You know what I mean? It's like Big Daddies have a certain, kind of a level of comfort that we are accustomed to, and Crocs are kind of like walking on little clouds or something.
That's right. Do you have Crocs?
I have one current pair of Crocs.
Okay.
I usually wear Crocs until there's no tread of any kind on the bottom, and then you go out on a rainy day and do the Scooby-Doo thing and injure yourself, and then say to myself, I'm never gonna wear Crocs again.
Yeah.
Until I go, oh, those look really comfy, and then do the whole thing again.
Do you have any of the little, what are they called, gibbets that you put inside the little holes?
I don't have any of that.
I have a Christmas present for you. I was kidding. Let's get you some gibbets. Okay. All right. Board games.
Is it really called gibbets?
I don't know. I said that yesterday. I was like, is it giblets? And then I was like, I don't think it's giblets.
I don't think so. I
think it's gibbets.
All right, sorry. Board games.
Board games. Do you like games?
Not so much.
Okay, it's a hate it for you.
So I guess that's the correct answer. But I hate being a hater. You know what I mean?
I know, and I thought about that for you with this game. I was like, Mike Weaver is gonna have a hard time saying he hates anything because you're just so kind.
Because the greatest of these is love.
But the greatest of these is love.
Right.
But you're not hurting the game of life's feelings, so it's okay.
That's true. That's true. But my wife Candace lives to play games.
Does she?
And she's the nicest person ever.
She is.
Until we play games. You know what I'm saying?
She's competitive?
She is so competitive. And if she plays games with her sisters, she has 3 other sisters, that is I have to go to another room. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, man. I can be coaxed into playing a game, but I'm doing it because I love somebody else.
Okay. It's not a love that comes from you. I got it. Okay. 3 more. Snow.
Snow?
Yes.
Well, I love the cold.
Okay.
But snow is probably... I love looking at snow. Love it.
Yes.
Being in snow.
You love being in the middle of snow.
Being trapped in snow.
That
is not so much.
Yes.
No,
okay. Yes. I love it. And you're not from the snowy place. So...
No.
Yes.
No.
Love it. Okay. Sleeping on a tour bus.
Sleeping on a tour bus. Love it.
Do you? Do you sleep well on the bus?
I sleep like I sleep at home on the tour bus.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know what it is. I think... But if we stop then I don't sleep as well.
Okay.
I sleep when we're moving. So Joe, the keyboard player for Big Daddy Weave, drives the bus for us. And he is potentially the greatest driver that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Because he knows what it feels like to be thrown about back there. So he drives amazingly. And so when I get in there, I catch up on my sleep on the road. It's
That's
really
amazing.
Good.
I'm happy for you in that way.
Do you have a rough time?
I'm a pretty light sleeper, so I struggle on the bus a good bit. But I mean, I feel like I've gotten used to it over the years.
How does Jason do?
He's a perfect sleeper. He sleeps like a baby on the bus.
That's awesome. Like a baby.
Like a baby. Which I don't know if that's a really good phrase because babies don't sleep much.
It's true. They're waking up every few hours.
Right. He sleeps like a husband. You know what I mean? He sleeps like a husband. Like not a care in the world. So
that's
I love that for him. He gets great sleep on the road.
Oh man. So what do you do to compensate for it then? Do you have to take something to try to go to sleep, or
I wear earplugs and that helps.
Yep.
And then I really just let myself wake up and just say, it's okay to wake up right now. I'm just going to go back to sleep. So I do talk to God a lot on the bus.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, God, it's me, Hannah. Again, please help me to sleep right now, God.
No doubt.
So the more I overthink it, though, the less I sleep. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways. Okay, last one.
Go with the flow. Yep. All right.
Coffee.
I love it when it's heavily medicated.
Okay.
Not medicated, but sweetened.
Medicated.
Yeah.
Take that soundbite. We were canceled. No.
Yeah, canceled. When it's heavily medicated. Yeah. When I pour all of that alcohol in my, no. Not that at all.
Not that at all.
Alcohol. Not a big fan.
Yeah,
actually.
hate it. Great.
But just the taste of it. Not judging anybody, but it's like, you know what I mean? But yeah, coffee, I'm not the natural born coffee drinker.
Yeah.
I'm the natural born Kool-Aid. Now that is like a natural born Kool-Aid drinker.
That's great.
So it's like something that tastes like candy. I could drink that.
What's in your mug right now? What are you drinking?
This is Body Armor Zero.
Okay.
Because diabetes is real. Okay. That's like, you gotta
the zero is,
Yeah. So we keep it on the zero level, but I find that to be a delicious sweet drink to
just
drink.
A little treat, so it's great. I have water in mine. It's not very exciting.
You do? I thought you would have had coffee in
Well,
there.
I actually had coffee earlier today, and I did have to cut myself off because, What
is the most amount of coffee you've ever drank in one day?
I mean, not a ton. If I have like 2 lattes in a day, when you think about that, that's like 3 shots of espresso in each latte, and that is a lot of coffee. Mm-hmm. But I start to get anxious if I have too much coffee. I already struggle with anxiety, so if you add caffeine, like too much, I start to get a little jittery.
Too much, yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, that was love it, hate it, in the middle of it. You did great. Thank you.
That was awesome. That was so fun.
Yeah, thanks for your
And I don't
answers.
even like games, like I told you. It was
great.
But it was beautiful.
I love it. It's just a little segment. I love it. Okay, well, let's get into it. This podcast is called In the Middle of It. We talk about just being in the middle of a season, and I think that's how we all are. I think it's easy to say, like, I went through this thing and I'm over it now and God's good. And if that's your story, praise the Lord. But I just think a lot of people are in the middle of something that they don't know how it's going to turn out. And it's okay to live in that tension. And I feel like just being on the road with you and just watching you be in the middle of it, be in the middle of grief and loss. And just the way that you've navigated it has been it's just witnessed to me a lot about what it looks like to love Jesus and to deal with things that are really difficult and to still have your faith in the middle of that. So I'd love to talk about that, just what you're in the middle of right now, and we can just go wherever the Spirit leads.
Yeah. You know, my little brother Jay was the hub in the middle of the wheel of Big Daddy Weaves, the bass player, and to watch us from stage, you would not know that it's like he had all of the things come across his plate that he would, you know?
Yeah.
But we were best friends, and we, you know, he's my little brother, but he always sort of functioned like the big brother in a way. Like he was always kind of the hero in a way. And, so we played music together in Big Daddy. We grew up together on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And then, I went to the University of Mobile and met the rest of the guys in Big Daddy Weave.
Cool.
He never went to school there, but he was always tagging along, you know? And so when that happened 26 years ago, I mean, it was off to the races. And it was the stuff that Jay and I had always dreamed about. We love music. We love playing music. We love playing music together, writing music together, like all of those things. And then so when that happened, that was really his passion. He was a leader in that for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Man, at some kind of a little ways into the group, Big Daddy Weave, was just kind of at a low point or something, or we were just going through a weird season. We were in the middle of a weird season, right?
Yeah.
And we began to cry out to the Lord and then just sort of make ourselves available to him in a different way. And then God began to move at the shows in just a significant way. Jay had always been like a really fun guy.
Yeah.
But then something really happened in his life too, where not just on the bus because he couldn't sleep, but the Lord began to wake him up at like 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And he would just get these downloads from God, and the stuff he would share. I'm like, Jay, I know you, and I know you couldn't come up with that,
Yeah.
And so then, man, we just started like, there's a shift in the shows when we began to end the shows every night where we're just like praying for people, and we just began to see God move in the miraculous, and it was incredible. And so for probably about 7 years straight, man, we just saw night after night God pour out in such a special way. We saw, physical sickness, healed. We saw emotional damage, be restored. We saw, man, chains of addiction break, and it was on a nightly basis. It became very rare that in some day of our life that we did not hear the testimony of the Lord coming in about what he had done.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
When was that? When did that kind of start?
So this was probably, I'm looking at our manager Jim right now, probably about 2011.
Okay.
2010 or 2011, yeah.
Wow.
And so, man, I'm telling you, and then all the things that God was doing began to fuel the songs that we were writing and fuel the direction that we were heading in and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And my brother had always had some health issues, but then in the middle of that season of incredible miracles, those issues began to worsen, and he was diabetic, and it was kind of this other thing that I never really understood. But it's like when you go to a doctor and then the doctor treats this, but then this messes this up, and so we're trying to treat this, and it's this sort of like chasing your tail kind of like thing that happens or whatever. And we watched my brother go through this, and at one point, literally to save his life, doctors had to amputate both of his feet.
Wow.
And we didn't know if he could come back from that and be in the group anymore.
Yeah.
But he did. And he came back out, and it was as powerful or more afterwards than before. Praying for people every night, seeing God do miracles in the lives of complete strangers that Jay needed in his own body.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand to this day, honestly,
I know, it's like, how do we live in that tension of when we're praying for something and God does it, but then sometimes he doesn't,
Yeah.
But I've heard you testify that Jay just, his faith was so beautiful in that time of just praying for people, not seeing it in his own body, but seeing miracles happen for someone that he needed.
Yeah.
And then never being bitter about it.
Yes. That was a different kind of miracle.
Yeah.
Because there's physical miracles, but then there's many other miracles. The greatest miracle of all is something that maybe you don't see on the outside at first. It's the change of our hearts when Jesus comes to live there,
Yep.
And so, man, when we just thought he had been through so much, we just thought we had him for a lot longer on this planet than we did. At one point, his health got to the point where he couldn't be on the road anymore.
Yeah.
That almost killed him by itself because he lived to go and do that. He loved every part of it.
Yeah.
And so, man, at the beginning of 2022, January 2nd of 2022, I got the most terrible phone call, and Jay had gone into the hospital over just right after Christmas. And it's like we couldn't hear anything from him, and his health had just declined in such a way. And actually, I heard my little brother on that phone call take his last breath. And when that happened, to me, a lot of stuff just fell apart.
Yeah.
In recent years before that, my dad, who was our hero, he's an incredible man of God, went to be with Jesus on Christmas Day of 2017. In 2021, my mom, who was never really herself again much after he had passed, went to be with Jesus in 2021, just right after Mother's Day. And man, and then this, and then Jay went home, and I was kind of like, I don't even know if I know who I am, without them, you know?
Yeah.
This little family that I had grown up with was kind of this stabilizing, place in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just so broken over it, you know?
Yeah. To lose your best friend, your brother, you didn't know Big Daddy Weave or the road without him. And he had just, started this legacy of faith and prayer and ministry. And you guys were in it together. You were partners, but how has it been to be on the road without him?
Yeah.
How do you live in that tension of missing him and continuing to do what God's called you to do?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It is, when you say tension, that's what it really is for me, because it took this thing that had been a home to me for so long, and then without him there, when I look around and see it, this thing that I loved, without him there, it kind of just hurts.
Yeah.
Like it's not what it was to me in that way. But I love the kindness of the Lord, because he let me see the miracles first.
Yeah.
And so it's like in my heart, it's already established like that he is good.
Yeah.
And he has good in mind for those who love him, and for humanity in general, you know?
Yeah.
But something changed in me, because, man, when we would pray for people, man, we just knew it was going to happen. And we would pray like it was already happening, it was, and that's, Hebrews talks about that faith is being certain of what we hope for.
Yeah.
We would pray in that way. And when Jay passed specifically, I know that when I would pray, all of a sudden, when I would get to the end, it was almost like I would pull the punch. You know what I mean? But in the midst of that, I feel like the Lord was revealing to me that the things that I love about the miracles was kind of this thing that wasn't very healthy in a way too. It was like when you see God do so much, there's this thing where you almost start feeling like you kind of got God on a leash.
Wow.
And by the way, that's not the case.
Right. Right.
The sovereignty of God is real. He's God Almighty.
Yeah.
There's only one. There's only one who is,
Yep.
And it's him. And I spent a lot of time at first, after my dad and my mom and Jay passed, really just wanting to know why. And it felt like I was beating my head against a brick wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, after you exhaust yourself, being that, I don't think I was mad at God. I tried that before, I think, and I just found out that it doesn't really get you anywhere.
Yeah.
But when I'm not getting these answers, it's a frustrating thing,
Yeah.
And so we changed the question that we were asking as a family, my little family, not so much about like, why God, as much as like, well, God, what is it that you're doing now?
Wow.
And I'm telling you, if you're not seeing him heal, you may be seeing him like just hold you. You may just see him providing in some other way, you know, because he is a multifaceted God, you know, and I do believe he's a God who heals, and I believe you can pray in confidence, but you can also take your hands off of what happens because you're not God,
right?
And just rest in the fact that, if you're not seeing it today, then he's not done with it yet, and we can trust the fact that he really is good because we have seen his heart displayed in other parts of our life. You know? Yeah.
And I think something that I've been thinking about a lot, just being on the road and seeing miracles and seeing God move, is just checking in my own heart that I'm not loving the work of God more than I'm loving God.
Oh
more
my
than
gosh, Hannah.
Yes. I think it's a tension to be like, okay, I'm seeing this amazing thing, but I love you, God, if I never see another thing, if
That's
I never, I've just been praying through that and just making sure that my heart is for him.
It's so good.
Wanting him more than the miracle. And I even think about that with you losing your family, like just your closest people. And what does it look like when that is taken away and God is your support? God is who you lean on. Like you don't have a choice,
Yeah. I was left with all these like unanswered questions.
Yeah.
But still he was there.
Yeah.
And that's incredible to me. And what you just described is, I think, what happened in me. The very first night we ever prayed for anybody in the show, in the way that we kind of moved into. I was in the bathroom washing my hands before we were gonna go out and start the show. And I heard as clear as a bell, the voice of Holy Spirit just say, there's people out there tonight that can't have children, and you just need to let them know I haven't forgotten about them, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, for real, like in the bathroom, like what's the...
I'm washing my hands.
Yeah, totally, and so we just said that, and there were 3 of them. And for months after that, as the Lord would give us these little downloads, there would be 3 of them. But and the beauty of the entire thing was just learning how to hear him and walk with him.
Yeah.
Then you begin to see the miracles though.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ooh, I want to see you one up that one,
God, can you do more? Yeah.
And I was wondering because, there's not really a recorded case. I mean, there's a place that said Jesus didn't do many miracles in a certain place, but there's not a recorded case of where Jesus prays for somebody and then nothing happens.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so I was just like, well, that's because every time you pray for somebody, somebody's just supposed to get healed every time. You know what I mean? But really, I think his track record came from this. Jesus says this to Philip. Philip goes, well, why don't you show us the Father? And Jesus goes, Philip, if you saw me, you saw the Father. Because I don't do anything that the Father's not doing. I only do what I see the Father do, right?
Yeah.
He's only in this intimate place with the Father, and he's only operating out of that. And because when you get God, you get everything else.
Right.
What's the Ben Fuller song right now? It's like, if I got Jesus, I got everything.
Yep, I got everything I'll ever
That's
need.
the thing. All the miracles come with Jesus.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, you can make a God out of the miracles, and that is not what Jesus wants.
Yeah. It's so cool to hear about just that season of Big Daddy Weave's ministry just being so rich with the presence of God, with miracles. And how have you seen that legacy that Jay has started? How have you seen that continue even after he's left? Even today in Big Daddy Weave's ministry?
Well, I think there's a shift in like our purpose as like, there wasn't always this much gray in the beard.
I don't see any.
There's like so much. It's like, and you know what I mean? It's like at some point we're going to be Granddaddy Weave here. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, we were going out and we were doing this stuff for a long time, but, one of the first places that I really experienced joy again after Jay was here was honestly seeing you and Jason praying for people. Wow. And then it dawned on me, I think my purpose in this whole thing has changed, that my delight is seeing my kids get Jesus in a real way.
Yeah.
My son Eli is down there praying for people every night, and seeing him learn learn how to hear from God. Again, you're not just going for this event.
Right.
You want to walk with the Lord. We want to flow with the Lord. Like, what are you doing?
Yep.
When we began to say it, and instead of asking why, we began to ask the question, God, what are you doing? All the answer shows up so quickly.
Yeah.
And usually he's not pointing here. He's pointing somewhere where you literally, because where I've found the most sense of healing is when I'm not thinking about me so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just dawns on me that I'm consumed with my own pain or whatever, my own situation.
Yeah.
When the Lord is going like, let me show you how to have joy. And like our pastor shared like the acronym of joy, he used to Jesus, others, and you.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's in that thing, seeing the Lord move in you guys, seeing, man, you guys grow in the Lord. Man, Hannah, you are one of the most compassionate people I've ever known. Like when I see you down and you're ministering to people, I've seen people who are so brokenhearted come straight to you because it's like they can see it on you, and you just literally just hug them into the love of God, into the presence of God, It's so good, man. And it's amazing that your awesome husband, his name is Jason.
Yeah.
Because we call my brother Jay or J-Dog, but his name's Jason.
Yeah.
And it means one who heals, actually. And so when I met Jason, who had also been through significant loss in his life and recent loss in his life, we kind of bonded over that a little bit. But man, there was this openness in him to step out into new places in the Lord. And he began to pray for people. Yeah. And so I'll share a story that I've been sharing in the shows. Yeah. Because I love it.
It's so good.
Man, so we were in, I don't know what the town was we were in. We were in maybe Nebraska or someplace like that. And and Jason was walking through the sanctuary before the show of the little church we were playing at, and he sees a man who the Lord puts on his heart. He's watching what the Father's doing, right? And he goes and he asked the man, he said, man, is there anything I can pray for you about? And at first the guy is like, no. And the guy shares this with us later. He says, man, I have this thing with my back, but I don't want to tell him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm scared he's going to pray and nothing's going to happen. Right. And so he denies it as long as he can, but Jason won't let go because he's watching the Father, right? And so finally the guy says, well, there's this thing with my back. And what the story was is like, however long before ago, the man had fallen off a tall extension ladder, had 2 bulging discs in his back, was in terrible pain, was actually on the books with a surgeon to have, the operation for it and all this stuff. And he's sitting at the show that night in pain, but doesn't want to say it. And finally says it. And Jason prays, and then all of the pain leaves his back. Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and you're thinking like, well, but it's probably coming back. Right.
Yeah.
And it never does.
Yep.
He goes in for the surgery only to find out, man, are you messing with us, dude? There's nothing wrong with this. Like the Lord had completely healed the discs in his back. He just healed his back. Right.
And they had the proof of the scans.
Yes, because they already scanned it. They already had him lined up for surgery and all of that stuff. So then the guy comes back to the show. And is saying all this stuff, and he's like, man. And so we give him the microphone. He testifies like, man, the Lord healed my back.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. Then a couple of times actually on the road, then I keep looking at Jason, who's like off screen or whatever.
He's over there, you guys.
Because this is just real stuff to me, man. This is life to me right now. The story of this, I'm telling you. And so the guy shares, and then everybody comes down in front at the end to pray. 3 more people who have disc issues in their back come down and leave with no pain. They didn't come back with the other testimonies yet, but it's like the Lord is moving, And
there's something when people hear a testimony like, oh, I have that issue and maybe God could do that for me. Like it almost like rises up their faith to hear a story of someone else.
Yes.
That received healing for something they need.
And you know who needs to hear that the most is that story is somebody who's in the middle.
Yeah.
Somebody who's in the middle of it. That's where the enemy wants to show up. In the middle sometimes is kind of at a low point.
Right.
And the enemy wants to tell people, he wants to say, look, the low point is the end of it for you.
Right.
But the devil's a liar.
Right.
And that's what I love is like even this story with Jay. When Jay died, there's this thing the enemy's telling me, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. How can you ever even believe me for a miracle again in Jesus? How can you believe God for a miracle again, when the people you wanted it for the most, it didn't happen to. And I didn't have an answer to that question, but it really hurt my hope,
Yeah.
And man, the fact that this young man named Jason shows up and I just see God doing it all again but doing it different, doing it in a way that's unique to you guys. And I love that that's who he is. And it's a hope builder for me, man. It's a restoring work that God is doing in me, Yeah.
It's been so sweet. I've loved watching you and my Jason just really connect, and we've just learned so much about how to pray for miracles, about what it looks like to have faith for miracles. It's just been the best experience. We were talking about it earlier of just, it's been life-changing for us to just watch God move and to learn from you guys how to even be open to that. Like I didn't grow up in a faith tradition where we prayed for miracles, So it's just been so cool. I wish that I could have met Jay. I just hear all these stories, and we came on the road with you guys right after. I think the first tour back after he passed away was the one that we came on, and I love that it was called the Only the Beginning tour. Like it's just, it's the beginning of a new season that God has you in. And it felt like a new season for us too, of just operating in this new way with God, of just believing him for more in our lives. And that's just been really, really cool. I'm just grateful for that.
Hannah, I really and truly believe in my heart that the Lord has such huge things for you guys,
Thank you.
And I know that I'm just going to enjoy watching what he does with you. You know, it's my favorite. I love it.
It's so cool. And I want to talk about your family a little bit more, just watching your kids now kind of pick up the mantle that you've been carrying and just watching them lead worship. I got to see Naomi, your daughter. She's 13.
Yeah.
I got to see her lead worship a couple of times, and she's just so anointed. She's so gifted. And watching Eli pray for people every night, and watching Zeke just play. Does he play bass? Just watching you and your kids lead worship together. What is that like for you as their dad to just watch them grow up?
Dude, that is next level for me, man. That is the next level. That is the place, my place of greatest peace.
Yeah.
Is just being with them. Man, I'm married so far out of my league.
Candace is amazing.
My kids are amazing, I know, because they've had a lot of prayer.
Yeah.
But also they're so amazing because of who their mama is too, man. And she's been like this constant in their life. You know, I'm going on the road. Sometimes they're getting to come on the road, that kind of stuff. But and so I feel a sense of resolve and a sense of purpose in Big Daddy Weave. But I also have this huge love for getting to lead worship with my kids, man.
Yeah.
Because I love seeing it's like every time I feel like they grow in it, like with an exponent, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I love hearing Eli ask these questions. He's the oldest one, and he has these questions about ministry and about life. And he's like he burns that people would come to know the Lord, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know a lot of other 17-year-olds that were like that, you know?
He's a man of God at 17.
Like legitimately, yeah. I look up to him in some ways, my son, you know? And like only Jesus can do that, man. So
it's so cool.
I love all of them, man. They're so special. I mean, obviously, because they're my family, but I just, I'm so grateful for them. And that's the place of greatest ministry, like to me, is with them.
It's so sweet. I'm not a part of your family, but I am proud of them like I am their family.
You kind of are, though. You know what I mean?
I feel like I've just watched them, even in the past few years, just mature and grow so much. And I look up to Eli as well, just his faith and the way that he loves the Lord and trusts him and believes for miracles from him. Like, it's been amazing. He's seen blind eyes healed, before his, it's just,
yes,
it's been amazing. And then Naomi, just her voice is such a gift, and it's ministered to me, just listening to her sing.
Well, and likewise, because I know that, man, Naomi, two of her very favorite people in the entire world, she really looks up to you, and she really looks up to McKenna Johns from The Young Escape, who you guys are kind of besties.
Yep.
And so, man, I'm telling you, she just thinks the world of you two, and I'm so glad those are the kind of role models that she has.
That's so sweet. I can't wait to see what all of your kids do as they keep growing. And it's so cool. It's a testament to you and Candace both, just the way that you followed the Lord, that they are after the Lord now too.
Oh, man.
It's so sweet.
Thanks for saying it, man. We sure are proud of them. We sure love them.
I love it. Okay, well, we have a segment that is called the middle moment that I would love to do now.
Let's do it.
So, okay, what happens is I have this little wheel.
Whoa!
It has lots of topics on it.
This is unbelievable.
You're gonna spin the wheel, and then we're gonna talk about whatever it lands on, just for a few minutes, just to end our time together.
No way. This is a good lighthearted way to end, or whatever. Here. All right, here we go. All right.
Give it a good spin.
Okay.
It really goes.
You have to kind of dub some kind of sound here, like.
I know. No dubbing necessary. That was perfect. Hot take. Okay.
Hot take.
Do you know what a hot take is?
No, you're going to need to explain it to me.
It's like an opinion that you have about something that is unexpected. I can't think of a single one right now other than, maybe if I thought that Facebook was better than Instagram, or which would be a hot take because most people think Instagram is better than Facebook.
Yes.
So, if you have a hot take, you can answer that one. Or I would like to rig the wheel and talk about Bigfoot.
I think that maybe that could be my hot take is Bigfoot.
Okay, let's do it.
I mean, that's all. Okay, so I don't want to be that guy or whatever, but it's somebody's been seeing something out there,
Right.
So what is it,
What is it?
And so this is where two things that we've talked about on the show potentially collide.
Okay.
See, so when we think about the possibility of Bigfoot, and we can kind of put it right on the line,
right
in
on
between,
the line,
because really it's both of those things.
Just needed a nudge.
Because we both listened to some podcasts about these kinds of things, which I never thought that I would be listening to a Bigfoot podcast, but I do listen to a couple.
We do.
And so, but I have a theory that could Bigfoot really be a real life Wookie?
Okay.
That's what I personally want to believe.
Yes.
And it's like, since we can't really get a solid like photo of Bigfoot, then it's like, who says he's not a Wookie?
Who says?
And out there in the forest, you're just hearing, you're hearing the noise, and it's like, and you're going like, George Lucas.
He's out there.
What if Star Wars is not imaginary, and what if it's really a documentary? That is not what I really believe. I have to be a hot take about like, that is not what I really mean.
Yeah.
That is not really truly what I believe. But
I feel open to the idea that Bigfoot could be real.
I want Wookiees to be real.
Yeah, well, because if one person, okay, think about this. There are thousands of accounts of people seeing Bigfoot.
It's true.
If just one of them is true,
that's true.
It busts the paradigm.
That's true. It's like I've heard that somewhere.
I've heard that
it's
somewhere.
Like, yeah.
So I just feel like I'm open to him being real. He could be interdimensional. I don't know. I mean,
I think it could be dimensions, and maybe he's in the middle is what he is.
In the middle.
So
that's why he's
not
blurry.
Really in this one. He's not really in that one, and that's
he's blurry in all the pictures because he's in the middle of two dimensions. Maybe he actually is pixelated. Like that's what he looks like. Is he's pixelated?
It's true. Like that's what he looks like in real life.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing.
That is hilarious. So we had all this meaningful talk, and then we end on this foolishness or whatever.
I love
so
it.
It's so good. I love that you have a wheel though. That's beautiful.
Listen, Amazon can give us a lot of treasures, and Amazon did provide that wheel for us. So.
I'm going home, and I love, dude. That's probably my hot take is Amazon. Like I don't know if you've ever like just if you randomly order things on Amazon.
Oh, for sure.
I have thought that I was dreaming. And I had packages arrive to my house from things that I have ordered in the middle of the night.
Oh no.
From my bunk on the bus.
That is amazing. I think that I do order most things in the middle of the night in the bunk as well. Like that is when it gets me. I'm like, I need to buy generators right now.
No doubt about it. I mean, you just have the burning need. I always want to get it, make sure it's prime though, because it needs to get here in 2 days.
Just
right?
2 days. It's great.
Now I'm going to have a wheel. I'm going to go get a wheel.
You got to do
That's
it.
going to be the deciding factor in our family now. We're just going to like all of a sudden, well, let's take it to the wheel. And like open the.
That's so good. Mike, thank you so much for being
Hannah,
here.
thank you so much for having me. This is
course.
amazing. It looks great. I love hanging out with you. I can't wait to listen to the rest of what you do on this awesome podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for being in the middle of it with us. I love it. Mike Weaver, everybody.